Hello, welcome back to this channel. I'm Parvati, a fluid dynamics student. So welcome back to the series where I introduce you to a concept related to fluid dynamics and we see if we can weave a story out of it, because sometimes it helps us in retaining the important bits of a concept, or sometimes it helps us in not getting confused between two concepts, and most of the times because it makes learning a lot more fun. So today I will be talking about Barnard cells, and this time I will be starting with a story and ending with one as well. So let's begin. Alright, so 4 years back I had just started cooking, and like most beginners I decided to start with omelettes. So I whisked my eggs along with some pepper and salt and poured it into a warm pan. What I saw next was pretty amazing. Like, I could see patterns on my omelette and it looked pretty good. So like any other person with a phone, I took a photo. The picture that you see is what I took then. You can see the black pepper making a pattern. The quality isn't that great, but I hope it's pretty visible from the photo. I do remember doing a really bad Google search. It was probably something like eggs, pepper, pattern, hot, why, something really bad. So basically I just assumed, okay, I'm a really bad cook, I can't even get an omelette to look normal. But now I know that these are Barnard cells or convection cells. And if you look at the video and the omelette picture, you'll see that they both have hexagonal kind of cells. Now, it isn't necessary to have just hexagonal shapes. You can have other shapes as well, because these cells are very sensitive to boundary conditions. For example, how flat your pan is. So now that we spoke about similarity, let's speak about differences. The video that you see is basically using a Newtonian fluid, while eggs are non-Newtonian fluids. What does this mean? By Newtonian, I mean water, oil. These are Newtonian fluids, meaning that the viscosity is independent of the shear rate. Basically, they behave like how you'd expect them to. But non-Newtonian fluids, they do not obey this law of viscosity. For example, ketchup. When you shake ketchup, it becomes more runnier, right? So these are called non-Newtonian fluids, which egg is also under the category of. Okay, so now that we know what kind of fluid we're dealing with, let's talk about the process and what is happening and what causes these cells to get formed. So now this is called a Rayleigh-Barnard convection. Now what happens is, as the bottom of the container gets heated up, fluid at the bottom of the container gets heated up, becomes less dense and starts to rise up. Now once this fluid reaches the top, it starts to spread out because surface tension of warm fluid is less than surface tension of cold fluid. And fluid always moves from region of low surface tension to region of high surface tension. So the cold fluid pulls the warm fluid towards it around the edges of the Barnard cell. And once these warm fluid reaches the edges of the Barnard cell, they become cold and so they sink down to the bottom of the pan. Now when they reach the bottom of the pan, they get heated up again. So this up and down motion of the fluid is what forms the cells. Now whether or not you see these cells depend on a dimensionless number known as Rayleigh number, which basically depends on the acceleration due to gravity, the height of the liquid column, the viscosity of the fluid, which is basically the resistance of the fluid to flow. So basically honey is more viscous than water, so viscosity. The density of the fluid, the thermal expansion coefficient, which is basically the extent to which the material expands upon heating. Thermal diffusivity, which basically describes how quickly a material reacts to the change in temperature. And finally, the temperature difference between the top and the bottom surface of the fluid. You can even see these convection cells on the surface of the sun, or your soup or curry, where the pattern is drawn out by your spices or rice grains, probably, something like that. Now what I feel fluid dynamics is trying to tell me is that as long as I'm living my life, there will be ups and downs, just like how the fluid goes up and down as long as it's heated from the bottom. You know, something like as long as I'm fired up in life. And this basically reminds me of what Andy very famously tells Mr. Red, and it goes something like this.
Remember, Red, hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies.
So yeah, that was it for this week. I think it was a nice, fun topic, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next Wednesday. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.